Yesterday was Mother's Day, and for Sabrina Fulton, the grieving mother of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin, who was killed in Florida earlier this year, it was a day to make sure other mothers don't ever have to go through what she's gone through. Fulton released this public service announcement calling on governors to rethink their state's so-called stand your ground laws. Take a look.
I'm Sabrina Fulton. This will be my first Mother's Day without my son Trayvon. I know it will be hard, but my faith, family, and friends will pull me through. On Sunday, I'm going to say a prayer for other mothers across America who share this unbearable pain. Just like me, 30,000 mothers lost their children this year to senseless gun violence. Nobody can bring our children back, but it would bring us comfort if we can help spare other mothers the pain that we will feel on Mother's Day and every day for the rest of our lives. I'm asking you to join Florida by calling upon the governor of your state to re-examine similar stand your ground laws throughout the nation to keep our families safe. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Happy Mother's Day.
This campaign, known as Second Chance on Shoot First, was launched by New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg last month, following the national controversy around the Trayvon Martin shooting. It aims at repealing stand your ground laws in the 25 states that currently have them on the books. Joining me now to talk more about this campaign is John Feinblatt, the Chief Policy Advisor for New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg. John, welcome.
Thanks a million.
Thanks for joining us. Mayor Michael Bloomberg kicked off this campaign to have Shoot First laws repealed. Why are these laws so dangerous?
Just look at the stats to know how dangerous they are. Since Florida enacted its law, so-called justifiable homicides have tripled. In Georgia, so-called justifiable homicides have doubled. And in Texas, they've almost doubled. I mean, this has taken the concept of self-defense and really turned it into shoot first and ask questions later. That's not what a civil society, how a civil society conducts itself.
We learned last week that gun range targets depicting Trayvon Martin wearing a hoodie, holding Skittles and an iced tea sold out in 2 days in Virginia. What does this say to you about the gun culture in America?
Well, look, that incident is absolutely despicable, and the person who has put that together owes an apology to Trayvon Martin's family. But the most important thing is to follow Sabrina Fulton's example. She's trying to turn tragedy into action, and the action she's asking for is for governors and state legislators who have passed these laws to reconsider them or modify them. We've talked to many state legislators, including ones in Florida, who unfortunately listened to the NRA and voted first and asked questions later. They need to be rethinking their votes.
In this debate, gun advocates are constantly talking about the rights of gun owners. Why is no one talking about the rights of non-gun owners, like the rights of innocent civilians to not be shot?
It's amazing. I mean, when you look at the military rules of engagement in this country, soldiers have a responsibility under military law to defuse a situation. But we've now, in 26 states in this country, given individuals the right to shoot first, ask questions later, and really perverted what the common law sense of self-defense is. I mean, we've always had the right to self-defense in your home, self-defense even in public, but that's always been accompanied by a responsibility to retreat, diffuse the situation if possible. That's the law of military engagement. It ought to be the law on the streets of our cities.
How do New York City's gun laws work, and do you think that they're a good model for other cities or states around the nation?
Yeah, I think that New York City's laws, like a couple of other states, are models for the country because before a permit is given to somebody, we ask some very basic questions about who they are, what their character is, what their reasons for carrying a gun are. Look, Mayor Bloomberg believes that people have the right under the Second Amendment to possess a gun, but he does not believe that people who are criminals or people who are mentally ill or people who are drug addicts or people who are underage have the right to carry a gun, and he thinks that this country's background checks unfortunately have loopholes you could drive a Mack truck through, and he wants to close those loopholes. And he also wants, like Trayvon Martin's mother wants, to reform stand your ground laws. They have no place in a civil society. We have no place in a civil society for people who, just because they feel threatened, have the right to chase somebody down the street and shoot them and ask questions later.
Tell me about this Second Chance on Shoot First initiative, the program.
Well, this is a coalition started by Mike Bloomberg, Reverend Sharpton, the NAACP, the National Urban League, to really ask state legislators and governors to rethink or modify their stand your ground laws. Look, the NRA, make no mistake, pushed these laws. They went from state to state to state because the NRA actually believes that you should be able to use a gun anytime, anywhere, for any reason. And unfortunately, too many state legislators felt pressure from the NRA, passed these laws, and it took tragedies like Trayvon Martin's tragedy for them to really ask themselves what had they voted for. And some of them are expressing regret, and this coalition is asking state legislators to rethink these laws in the 26 states that they've been passed, and to warn legislators in the 7 or so states that are still considering these laws to think and ask questions before they cast their vote.
Yeah, it sounds just common sense. By the way, I understand you recently married your partner and the mayor officiated at the wedding. I'm curious your take on the president's historical endorsement of marriage equality last week and how you think it might play out over the election.
Well, look, I think that perhaps this could be a tipping point. Most of the polls are showing that the Americans favor marriage equality, and certainly if you look at young people, the polls are overwhelming. I think it's just a matter of time before marriage equality is accepted across this country, and I think that the fact that you have the President of the United States coming out for it certainly signals a change. In my case, almost a year ago, Mike Bloomberg married my partner and I, who have 2 young children, on the steps of Gracie Mansion, because he doesn't believe that government has any business in telling people who they love and who they can live with and who they should have children with.
Yeah, that's absolutely marvelous. John Feinblatt, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
The website is secondchanceonshootfirst.org. Check it out and get involved.